Mark Antony, a name etched in the annals of history, a figure whose legacy has endured through the ages, captivating the imaginations of historians and enthusiasts alike. A man of immense ambition, military prowess, and political cunning. His life was a complex interplay of power, passion, and politics. He was a colossus who strode the world stage during the twilight of the Roman Republic. His presence was felt far and wide, influencing the course of history in ways that still resonate today. His life, a tapestry woven with threads of triumph and tragedy, continues to fascinate us centuries later. Each thread tells a story of valor, betrayal, love, and loss. From the battlefields of Gaul to the sun-drenched shores of Egypt, Antony's story is one of remarkable highs and devastating lows. His journey took him across continents, shaping the destinies of nations. Born into a patrician Roman family in 83 BC, Antony was destined for greatness. His upbringing was steeped in the traditions and expectations of Rome's elite. His lineage could be traced back to the founders of Rome. This noble heritage was both a blessing and a burden, setting the stage for his future endeavors. This heritage instilled in him a sense of destiny, a belief that he was born to shape the course of history. It fueled his ambitions and drove him to pursue greatness with relentless determination. However, Antony's path to power was not paved with privilege alone. It was a journey marked by challenges and adversities that tested his resolve and character. It was forged in the crucible of war, where he honed his skills as a soldier and a leader. His experiences on the battlefield shaped him into a formidable force, respected and feared by many. Antony's life was inextricably intertwined with the fate of Julius Caesar, the man who would become his mentor and friend. Their relationship was a defining aspect of Antony's career and legacy. Their bond, forged in the heat of battle, would have profound implications for the future of Rome. Together, they navigated the treacherous waters of Roman politics and warfare. Under Caesar's tutelage, Antony flourished, his military genius blossoming on the battlefields of Gaul. He learned the art of war from one of history's greatest generals. He proved to be a fearless warrior and a brilliant strategist, securing crucial victories for Caesar. His contributions were instrumental in expanding Rome's territories and influence. Antony's loyalty to Caesar was absolute. He stood by him through thick and thin, unwavering in his support and dedication. He stood by his side as Caesar marched on Rome, shattering the old order and plunging the Republic into civil war. This period of turmoil would test Antony's mettle like never before. Antony's unwavering support cemented his place as Caesar's most trusted lieutenant. He became an indispensable part of Caesar's inner circle, a key player in the unfolding drama of Roman history. But their ambitions would come at a terrible price, one that would ultimately lead to their downfall. The very qualities that propelled them to greatness would also sow the seeds of their undoing. From a young age, Antony exhibited a taste for adventure and a disdain for authority. His rebellious spirit often got him into trouble, but it also set him apart from his peers. He was not content with the mundane life that awaited most young Romans. Instead, he yearned for something greater, something that would allow him to leave his mark on history. These traits, while problematic in his early years, would serve him well on the battlefield. His defiance of authority translated into a fearless approach to combat, and his adventurous spirit drove him to take risks that others would shy away from. This combination of traits made him a formidable presence in any military engagement. His military career began in Syria, where he distinguished himself with his courage and tactical acumen. It was here that Antony first demonstrated his ability to lead men into battle and to make quick, decisive actions under pressure. His superiors took note of his potential, and it wasn't long before he was given more significant responsibilities. Antony's star continued to rise during his time in Gaul, serving under Caesar. In Gaul, he faced some of the most challenging battles of his career, but he met each challenge with unwavering determination. His time under Caesar was a period of intense learning and growth as he absorbed the strategies and tactics of one of Rome's greatest generals. He quickly grasped the intricacies of warfare, mastering the art of siegecraft and cavalry maneuvers. Antony's bravery was legendary. He was known to lead charges personally, placing himself in the thick of the action. This hands-on approach earned him the respect and admiration of his troops, who saw him as a leader who was willing to share in their dangers. He led from the front, inspiring his men with his own fearlessness. His presence on the battlefield was a rallying point for his soldiers, who drew strength from his example. Antony's ability to inspire and motivate his troops was one of his greatest assets as a commander. He shared their hardships, endured their pain, and celebrated their victories. Antony was not a distant leader, he was one of them. This close bond with his men created a sense of unity and loyalty that was unmatched. His soldiers knew that he understood their struggles and that he was committed to their well-being. This camaraderie earned him the unwavering loyalty of his legions. They trusted him implicitly and were willing to follow him into any battle, no matter the odds. Antony's ability to foster such loyalty was a testament to his leadership skills and his genuine care for his men. They would follow him anywhere, their faith in him unshakable. This unbreakable bond between Antony and his soldiers was a key factor in his many military successes. It was this trust and loyalty that allowed him to execute complex maneuvers and strategies with confidence, knowing that his men would support him without hesitation. But Antony was more than just a courageous soldier. He possessed a keen, strategic mind. He was able to see the bigger picture and plan his campaigns with meticulous detail. His strategic acumen was evident in the way he positioned his forces, anticipated enemy movements, and exploited weaknesses. He could assess the battlefield with a soldier's eye and a general's foresight. This dual perspective allowed him to make informed decisions that balanced immediate tactical needs with long-term strategic goals. Antony's ability to think several steps ahead of his opponents often gave him the upper hand in battle. Antony's victories in Gaul, Germania, and Britannia showcased his military genius. Each campaign was a testament to his ability to adapt to different terrains, climates, and enemy tactics. His success in these diverse regions solidified his reputation as one of Rome's most capable generals. He outmaneuvered his enemies, exploited their weaknesses, and crushed their resistance with ruthless efficiency. Antony's tactical brilliance was matched by his relentless drive to achieve victory. He was not content with merely winning battles, he sought to dominate his enemies completely. Antony's successes in Gaul did not go unnoticed. His achievements caught the attention of Caesar, who recognized his talent and ambition. Caesar saw in Antony a kindred spirit, someone who shared his vision for Rome and had the skills to help achieve it. Caesar recognized his talent and ambition, promoting him through the ranks. Antony's rise was swift, and he soon found himself in positions of significant power and influence. His close relationship with Caesar opened doors that would have otherwise remained closed. Antony became Caesar's right-hand man, his most trusted advisor and his closest confidant. Their partnership was built on mutual respect and a shared commitment to Rome's greatness. Antony's counsel was invaluable to Caesar, and together they navigated the complex political and military landscape of the time. Their bond, forged in shared danger and mutual respect, would shape the destiny of Rome. The legacy of their partnership would be felt for generations, as their combined efforts laid the foundation for the Roman Empire's future successes. As Caesar's power grew, so too did Antony's influence. He became a key figure in the Roman political landscape, navigating the treacherous currents of the Senate and the Forum. Antony was a skilled orator, capable of swaying crowds with his passionate speeches. His charisma and raw energy made him a force to be reckoned with in the political arena. During Caesar's campaigns in Egypt and Pontus, Antony served as his master of the horse, a position of immense responsibility. He effectively governed Rome in Caesar's absence, quelling unrest and maintaining order. Antony proved himself to be an able administrator, demonstrating a talent for governance that belied his reputation as a soldier. However, Antony's loyalty to Caesar was unwavering. He remained his staunch defender, both on the battlefield and in the political arena. When Caesar's enemies conspired against him, Antony stood by his side, ready to defend his mentor to the death, but their defiance would have tragic consequences. Caesar's assassination on the Ides of March sent shockwaves through Rome. Antony, overcome with grief and rage, vowed revenge on his friend's murderers. He skillfully manipulated the Roman mob, turning them against the conspirators. Antony's actions ignited a firestorm of violence that would consume Rome, plunging the Republic into another bloody civil war. In the chaotic aftermath of Caesar's assassination, Antony found himself at odds with Octavian, Caesar's adopted son and heir. The power vacuum left by Caesar's death created a turbulent political landscape, with various factions vying for control. Antony, a seasoned military commander and loyal supporter of Caesar, believed he was the rightful successor. However, Octavian, though young and relatively inexperienced, had the advantage of being named Caesar's heir in his will. The two men, both ambitious and ruthless, were locked in a power struggle that would determine the fate of Rome. Their rivalry was not just a personal vendetta, but a clash of ideologies and visions for Rome's future. Antony sought to continue Caesar's policies and maintain the support of the military, while Octavian aimed to consolidate power through political maneuvering and public support. To consolidate their power and crush their enemies, Antony, Octavian, and Lepidus, another powerful general, formed the Second Triumvirate. This alliance was a strategic move to pool their resources and eliminate common threats. The triumvirate was granted extraordinary powers by the Senate, allowing them to bypass traditional political structures and act with near-absolute authority. This uneasy alliance, bound by political expediency rather than genuine trust, would prove to be a volatile mix. The three leaders had different agendas and personal ambitions, which often led to conflicts and mistrust. Their meetings were marked by intense negotiations and power plays, each trying to outmaneuver the others. The triumvirate initiated a series of proscriptions, purging their enemies from Rome. These proscriptions were brutal and systematic, targeting political opponents, wealthy citizens, and anyone deemed a threat to their rule. The confiscated wealth was used to fund their military campaigns and secure loyalty among their supporters. These bloody purges claimed the lives of thousands, including Cicero, the renowned orator and statesman. Cicero's death was particularly significant as he was a vocal critic of Antony and a symbol of the Republic's old guard. His execution sent a clear message to all who opposed the triumvirate's rule. Antony's role in these atrocities further tarnished his reputation, painting him as a ruthless and power-hungry tyrant. His actions alienated many of his former allies and fueled the growing animosity between him and Octavian. The public perception of Antony shifted, and he was increasingly seen as a threat to the stability of Rome. Despite their internal tensions, the triumvirate achieved some notable successes. They managed to restore a semblance of order and stability to Rome, at least temporarily. Their military campaigns expanded Rome's territories and brought in much-needed resources. They crushed the armies of Caesar's assassins at the Battle of Philippi, avenging their fallen leader. This victory was a turning point, solidifying their control over Rome and eliminating some of their most dangerous adversaries. With their enemies vanquished, the triumvirate divided the Roman world amongst themselves. Antony took the wealthy eastern provinces, Octavian controlled the west, and Lepidus was given Africa. This division was meant to balance power, but it also sowed the seeds of future conflicts. Antony received the eastern provinces, including Egypt, the breadbasket of the Roman world. Egypt's vast resources and strategic location made it a valuable asset, and Antony's control over it significantly boosted his power and influence. This division, while seemingly amicable, masked the growing rift between Antony and Octavian. Their alliance was fragile, held together by mutual interests rather than genuine loyalty. The political and personal differences between them continued to widen. Their rivalry, fueled by ambition and mutual suspicion, would soon erupt into open conflict. The tension between them escalated as they both sought to undermine each other and consolidate their own power bases. The stage was set for a final showdown, one that would determine the fate of Rome and the legacy of Mark Antony. The impending conflict promised to be a decisive moment in Roman history, with far-reaching consequences for the future of the Republic. The uneasy peace between Antony and Octavian could only last so long. The fragile fabric of the Second Triumvirate began to unravel as their ambitions clashed. The tension simmered beneath the surface, waiting to explode into a full-blown civil war. Antony's alliance with Cleopatra, Queen of Egypt, further strained his relationship with Octavian. Their romantic and political partnership was seen as a direct threat to Rome and Octavian's power. The propaganda war began in earnest. Octavian portrayed Antony as a traitor to Rome, accusing him of falling under Cleopatra's spell and abandoning his Roman identity. Antony in turn condemned Octavian's ambition and ruthlessness. The Senate, swayed by Octavian's rhetoric, declared war on Cleopatra, framing the conflict as a defense of Rome against foreign influence. The decisive confrontation came at the Battle of Actium in 31 BC. Octavian's fleet, commanded by the skilled Agrippa, faced off against Antony and Cleopatra's combined forces. The battle was fierce and chaotic, with ships clashing in the churning waters of the Ionian Sea. Antony's fleet was outmaneuvered and overwhelmed. In a desperate bid to escape, Antony and Cleopatra fled to Egypt, leaving their forces in disarray. In Egypt, Antony and Cleopatra's situation grew increasingly dire. Octavian's forces pursued them relentlessly, closing in on Alexandria. As hope waned, Antony received false news of Cleopatra's death. Stricken with grief, he fell on his own sword, a tragic end for a once great general. Cleopatra, upon learning of Antony's fate, chose to follow him in death, using a venomous asp to take her own life. The deaths of Antony and Cleopatra marked the end of an era. Octavian emerged victorious, consolidating his power and ushering in a new chapter for Rome. He would soon be known as Augustus, the first emperor of Rome. Antony's legacy, tarnished by his final years, remained a complex tapestry of military brilliance, political ambition, and tragic romance. The Civil War and Antony's dramatic demise were pivotal moments in Roman history, signaling the end of the Republic and the dawn of the Empire. The echoes of their story, filled with passion, betrayal, and the relentless pursuit of power, continue to resonate through the ages.